what's going on. Oh, hi YouTube world, or just world. So this video, I'm making it because the last week has been a very tough week for us. Um, a bit traumatic for my daughter, my kindergartner. She's 5, and she was having some issues with a schoolmate, and you know. It's obviously something we've never dealt before and didn't imagine we'd ever deal with. I mean, I'm sure nobody ever thinks that, their child will be bullied in school, but, and I'll get to why I called it bullying. So, first, let's just give you a bit of a background before I get into it. So, she just started a new school in our town, and ever since day one in kindergarten, she was coming home. Well, first they have these folders, which they come home with every day, and it's like a calendar. I'm not sure if they do it in other schools, but this is what they do at her school. They have this calendar. It's like a behavior calendar, where every day in school they basically start out green, and green is when you're basically like a good student. You're like listening to the teacher and taking directions, and you have a good day. So they start out green, and then if they, start being defiant or not listening or not taking direction, then the color they would get a color change. The colors are below after green, it's yellow, then blue, then red. So she's had a couple of yellow days, but mostly green. And she's always talked about this one girl in her class who always has a red day. She's like, she told me the girl has never had a green day. And funny enough, I would just think, oh, well, I mean, these kids are little. They're 4 or 5 year olds. They're not gonna be like, understanding and, I mean, they're kids. Kids don't listen. That's what kids are. That's what kids do. So yeah, that was my thought. And then this past week, and then even like other days, she would just talk about how this one girl was just like not very nice, and it was a constant thing for her to keep telling me that this girl just doesn't listen, and she had a red day, she had a blue day, and then one day she had a green day, and my daughter actually was like, she had a green day, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's awesome, for her at least. Yeah, anyway, so that's the background. So this past week, I want to say last Wednesday, she got off the bus basically on the brink of tears, and I'm like horrified, like, oh my god, what is going on? So she starts telling me like, the kid, I'm not gonna say her name, but she hit me. And I'm like, where did she hit you? I mean, obviously this didn't just happen. Once she saw me, that's when she like just, oh my god, mommy, oh, she hit me, and I was crying. And I'm like, did you tell your teacher? And I'm just like, oh my god, what do I do? I'm like, did you tell your teacher? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what did your teacher do? And she's like, she gave her a color change. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I sent her teacher a message anyway. Her school, well, her class at least, her teacher uses Class Dojo, which is an app that basically updates you throughout the day, and you can communicate with the teacher. So I sent her a message on that. It's like, and I'm like, Rai came home today, said that a girl hit her. I was just wanted to make sure that I wanted to know if you were aware. Because when I first asked her what happened, she was a little hesitant to tell me. She didn't like want to say it almost. And I'm like, oh my god, what is going on? So her teacher responded and said, yes, I'm aware. I made sure she was okay. I talked to her about it. She was a bit hesitant to tell her teacher as well. So she was like, yeah, she wouldn't come out and tell me right away, but once she finally got it out, she basically talked to her and made sure Riley was okay. And I wanted to ask like, okay, was the student dealt with? But I also kind of felt like it wasn't my place. Honestly, I don't even know what my train of thought at the moment was, but I think it was, okay, kids are kids sometimes, and kids hit each other sometimes. So not necessarily wanted to let it go, but I didn't want to make it something that it wasn't. So naturally, I just said, okay, this has been dealt with. I talked to Riley, and, we just made it clear that I'm sure she didn't mean to do it, and she doesn't understand that maybe what she did wasn't right. So, the teacher will talk to her. And when kids have, getting back to their behavior calendar, when you have a red day, you're supposed to get a call home. So if this girl has been having all these red days, I'm sure her parents are aware that she's not behaving right in school. So now back to the story. So after that Wednesday, I let it go. Not let it go, but I think it was like last Tuesday, or actually Monday or Tuesday. Not let it go, but right, kids are kids sometimes, stuff is gonna happen. Fast forward to Thursday. She gets off the bus, and she's like, again, so upset. And I'm just like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't want to go back to school anymore. And I said, what? What happened? And she tells me the girl keeps hitting her. And I said, oh no. Why? Actually, I didn't get into why the girl hit her the first time. One of my daughter's friends gave her a sheet of stickers. And in school, she was giving the stickers to her friends. My daughter was giving the stickers to people, I guess people that she liked, to her friends. And the girl asked her for a sticker, and she said no. So I guess she didn't like that very much. That's why she hit her the first time. So the second time, I said, this is unacceptable. So especially the fact that she's coming home telling me she does not want to return to school. That was like the biggest blow for me. And at that point, I chose to see it as bullying. And I contacted her teacher, and I said, again on Class Dojo, and I said, Riley is telling me she does not want to return to school. Now, I don't remember exactly what I said. I should probably read my message, but let's not get into all the little tiny details. Anyway, the thing was, she didn't want to go back to school, and that scared me. And to me, I felt like because of that, she was being targeted. Because if this girl was just naturally defiant, which kind of seems like she is, and she was picking on everybody else in the class, I feel like Riley wouldn't feel so, like unsafe or like picked on, and that she wouldn't want to return to school. You know what I mean? Like, if this girl was just like that to every other kid in the class, it would kind of be like, oh, that's her, and I feel like my kid wouldn't feel so singled out and feel attacked, which she did. Is why she didn't want to return to school. So I initially thought, wow, she's being bullied, and this needs to be handled immediately. So I told her teacher I would be coming in the morning, because she was so insistent on not going to school. Like, she wasn't crying when she was home. Like, she was fine at home, but as soon as I brought up school, it was like, no, mommy, no, please, I don't want to go back. And I was like, oh my god, is something else going on? But every time I ask her why, she's like, because the girl keeps hitting me, and then she's like, I'm scared if I go back, she's gonna hit me again. So after I sent another message to her teacher, she talked to the principal, and they agreed that they would address it right away, and they would deal with her. So I went in with her the next day, because I promised her I would walk her to school, and not walk her, but I would drive her. We live like 2 minutes from school, but she still gets picked up by the bus. So I told her I would drive her to school and walk her in the building, and just so she has a little bit of ease. We went to school and she agreed. So we went to school the next morning, and I chatted with the teacher a bit, and she said that she talked with the principal, and they have developed up the girl is on a discipline plan. I didn't want to ask what it was, but the fact that it was being addressed and being taken seriously was kind of like a relief to me, because you know, sometimes, again, like my first thought initially, kids will be kids, kids hit sometimes. But you know, when it gets to the point where my child is feeling unsafe and insecure about being in school, which she loves, which is what hurt me the most, because she loves school. So I didn't want this to change her perception of what school was. And initially I thought, oh my God, they need to get this child out of my daughter's class. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I think it's bullying, and as long as they're addressing it right away, I'm cool with it. And as long as they're keeping an eye on it, which they promised me they would, like they would keep an eye on my daughter and they would keep an eye on the girl. And she's on a discipline plan. Again, I'm not sure what it is. I didn't really, honestly didn't want to know. I just wanted to make sure the issue was being addressed. So the next day, her teacher sent me updates through the day with pictures and messages, again on Class Dojo, just to kind of keep me abreast to what was going on in the class. And it seemed like Riley was having a good day, like a great day, and she came home very, very happy and, you know, back to normal. So my reasoning for this video is not only to share my experience, but also to kind of address, wow, a lot of gas, kind of address the whole bullying thing. It's like, at what point do we recognize that it's bullying? Because again, initially I thought, oh, she's just being a kid, and kids will be kids, and kids will hit, and kids will, you know, not be nice sometimes. But you know, at what point do we recognize, you know, the early signs as, hey, this kid is picking on others, and it has to be addressed, and it has to be, you know, monitored, and it has to be properly dealt with. And I think it is as early as 4 or 5 years old. I mean, if I just let it go and I just said, oh, Riley was being too dramatic, which I would never do to my child. You know, if I just said she was being too dramatic, or, oh, it's okay, you have to go to school, so I don't care what's going on in school, you have to be there, you're going. No, that is not okay. And it brought back, I mean, I was picked on in school, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people were. And, you know, it's like we accept some levels of it and then choose to wait until it escalates to where there's no going back to say, oh my God, there's a bullying problem. That's not right to me. So I think I was right. At first, I was doubting myself and second guessing myself in thinking that I was being too dramatic and saying that, oh, she's being bullied. But you know what? I wasn't. And I'm glad I took the steps, and I'm glad I spoke up, and I'm glad, you know, I let I listened to my instincts and I followed them. And she's had, you know, it's only been a couple of days since, but she's had, the days have been good, and the girl has toned it down, let's say. She's not picking on Riley. She's basically, you know, no one is tolerating her, you know, her behavior anymore. And I think that's a great thing. And I think it's very, very important for us to you know, address these things when they're so little, because guess what? If they're not addressed, they're gonna think it's okay, and it's not okay. And I just wanted to share this because because of the fact that I was, you know, second guessing myself on calling this bullying, and you know what? It was, and it absolutely was serious, because this could have traumatized Riley, and it could have made her feel negatively about school. And you know, being forced to do something doesn't really make you want to do it. So, you know, when kids are forced to just go to school no matter what, just because you need an education, you have to learn, you have to do all that, you know, you're being forced to go no matter what the circumstance, no matter what's going on in school, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what they're dealing with, you're just forced to go, as we all were. And clearly that doesn't work, because people lose interest. They just sit there and they don't listen, they don't pay attention. I did well in school, but not because, I wanted to. It was more of I had to, and a fear, sort of being forced, and then they're forced to internalize and basically like keep everything inside. And that's where a lot of trouble builds from. That's where a lot of depression. I mean, there's so many teenagers depressed, and even little tiny kids now. And I'm glad I basically like paid attention, and I'm glad I responded in as fast as possible. And I was very, very adamant to her teacher that I wanted this addressed as soon as possible, because I was thinking about keeping her home that Friday. I was gonna, you know, but then once I told her that I would take her to school, she started feeling a little better about it. So I took advantage of that and rushed her back in, and kept the momentum of her. Okay, yay, mommy's taking me to school, So she liked that, and she was excited about that part. So the fact that I took her to school, and then when we got there, her teacher met us in the office and took her by hand and took her to class. So I think that gave her some security, and also made going back easier. I feel like if I had kept her home on Friday, and then another day, maybe Monday, maybe even tomorrow, and Tuesday and Wednesday, like how long would I have to keep her? Was I gonna wait until this student was like, I don't know, like she was always gonna be there. I didn't think it would be fair to pull Riley out of her class and change classes. I don't think that would be right, because she's not the one causing the problem. I think it would have to been that student who would have to had changed classes or whatever. I know I would have fought for something to happen, but and the plan was initially not to take her to school until she's comfortable. But I'm glad that she got excited because I took her, and then she was happy when her teacher came to get her from the office, and overall has been having a positive experience. So again, this issue was addressed, and I just felt compelled to tell this story because I think a lot of parents are dealing with this, and basically just accepting it like I was gonna, as this is just kids will be kids are doing what kids do, and just because kids are doing what kids do, and that doesn't make it right, especially when it's hurting somebody else, another kid at that. So I think it's very, very important for us as parents to pay attention to these things at home, even if it's our kid that's doing the bullying, especially if it's our kid that's doing the bullying. It's very, very important and vital for us to nurture them in the way that they need, and listen to them, and make them feel valid, make them feel important, because I feel like when they're kids, we always think, oh, they're being dramatic, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, they don't understand. But they do understand a heck of a lot more than we think, and sometimes more than we do. So this is just a message to all the parents out there to just listen to your kids, and if they don't feel right about something, pay attention and take action. And bullying is bullying, whether it's a 5-year-old hitting another 5-year-old, or whatever, or kid getting beat up in high school, it's still bullying. So yeah, that was my emotional week, and I was like sick to my stomach during that whole like 2-day process. I know it was like 2 short days, but it was like the longest. I held my breath that Friday, that whole day, until I heard from her teacher. I didn't eat that morning until I heard that things were going good. Like, I didn't want to text her every 2 seconds, like, how is she doing? So I waited to hear from her teacher, and about 1 o'clock, she texted me some pictures throughout the day, and then some messages saying Riley was doing great, and yeah. So oh, and the principal actually pulled both of them out, pulled Riley, my daughter, and the girl out of class, and had a good sit down with them, made sure Riley felt safe, and also had a conversation with the girl, and and it's been good since. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, I would love to hear other people's experiences. So please comment below, or send me messages, or do a video response. And hope to talk to you another time. I'll probably make another few videos. All right, good night.